Hello, this is the 30th video that I'm making. They're all short in the series which I'm calling State of the School. And I'm now going to change away from that overarching subject of soil and botany. I'm going to leave that behind and go to a new one, and that is, I'm going to call it the trades. The trades, what it has to do with Frank's school. I mean, always I'm talking about what's going on here at Frank's school, the Camp Range campus. Now, I don't have to be long-winded about the trades because I've done an entire, I think, playlist, I believe, on the trades several years ago, and I'll reference that in a bit. But I will give a little bit of a history to it. By the trades, the word itself, arts, I don't want to use that, crafts, arts and crafts. Now, I choose not to use that. I like the word crafts, and I certainly like the word craftsmanship. But my attitude toward the trades is certainly not the work of a hobbyist. It's real important things that need to be done, and ideally, the tradesman loves doing them. I don't know if I can get this quote right. I think it was maybe Leonardo da Vinci that said a worker or a laborer works with his body, a craftsman works with his body and mind, and an artist works with his body, his mind, and his soul or his heart. Anyway, I guess I'm talking about it at the middle level. It's a craftsman, but the trades, and my interest in that goes way back. I think it was while I was a freshman in college, I believe, was the first time that I wrote a kind of a little utopian story about some 16 people or so living on an island, a sort of my version of an island utopia thing. And they, I'm quite sure, were divided into various trades that they covered. I am going to get a book out and show it to you eventually, a monograph. It's about that thick. That there are only 2 copies in the world if the other one exists, and I want to show it to you because I included that in that book, and I want to look at it again. Then let's see, when I was in Peace Corps after college, now I was an English major, but I always wanted to be a farmer. And even when I was in college, my roommate, and he talked me into it as freshmen. While we were studying at Harvard, we went in the evening down to the local high school and studied auto mechanics. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before or not. He thought it'd be a good idea, and I did too. That's pretty. I tried when I was in high school. I had a little breathing room when I was a senior. I could take an extra course that wasn't getting me ready for college and whatever. And I tried to take auto mechanics, I think it was, in the what do they call it? That part of the school, industrial arts, I guess they called it then. And I remember sitting in the principal's office with my mother there trying to work this out, trying to schedule it. And he was saying, it's just going to be so hard to schedule. And I had to give up. I couldn't study it then. But I did study it then at Harvard with Lee. He talked me into doing that, and I loved it. And then, of course, I became a carpenter for 2 years, a rough carpenter. That is my trade. I have a trade. My profession, I always said, was teacher, school teacher, teacher. That's my profession. But my trade, carpenter, rough carpenter. And I felt everybody ought to have a trade. Well, anyway, what I was going to say was that when I was in Brazil, I did a study. I think it was a separate work. I did a study of for a craftsman's colony. What were the basic crafts that would have to be covered to have a group of people be fairly self-sufficient? Initial study for a craftsman's colony in school. It's something like that, and I'll find that as well. I'll tell you about that. And one other thing, well, maybe two other things right now. When I went in the Peace Corps, Joyce and I, we went into a crafts program. If I'd been on my own, I would have gone into some kind of farming, agricultural program. But Joyce, as I've said elsewhere, her dad was a very important, influential man, architect, in the development of the crafts program in the United States. Founder David Campbell, founder of the, or at least first president of the American Crafts Council. And it was partly through their influence, and Joyce's older sister, Pat, she had been in the Peace Corps in that same town, Catale de Rocha, before us, and we managed to establish a cooperative of craftsmen, craftsmen's cooperative, making weavings and stuffed animals and batiks. That was the work I did in the Peace Corps. But I also did that study. And there was always a bit of a, but it was so formative on me to have that vision of crafts as Joyce had. And I don't want to pack this all into one video because I've got one or two more I want to say. But let's see, there was one other thing I think. There was a kind of a difference, though, between her vision and that vision, which has more to do with the art, the beauty of the things, and mine, which had to do with the hands-on practical necessity of doing the work. And I'll tell you more about that later. I think I probably better stop for now.